Welcome, everyone. I'm grateful that you're joining us today for this special conversation we're going to have with Jessie Starr. Jessie, would you like to say hello to everyone?
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me on, Karen. It's a pleasure to meet you.
We got to talk before the show, and you are one special lady. I seriously am enjoying you.
Thank you.
So let me tell you about Jessie. She's got a lot going on. She is a gifted psychic, and her work blends energy healing, 5D consciousness support, guided meditation. Tell me if I say this right, Jessie. Somatic integration.
Yeah.
Oh, goody. And intuitive channeling. She helps people recover from trauma, rewire limiting beliefs, heal their nervous system, and awaken to their true gifts. I
Yeah.
know. Isn't that crazy? She has so much going on. So we'll probably have Jessie on again. Today, we're going to talk about trauma and healing and how you can do that and accessing your creative genius.
Mhm.
I just think that's so cool. So let's start. Jessie, tell us about your journey, a little bit about your journey, and then let's go into the trauma and
Yeah.
see how we can help people with that.
Yeah. Let's see. I have a pretty unusual upbringing, which involved a dichotomy of being raised in a really enlightened spiritual community. My mother was always questing, seeking, um, developing. I was raised predominantly Buddhist. And then I had a predatory, pedophilic stepfather that was incredibly damaging and destructive and a lot
Oh
of
my
instability. So
gosh.
I grew up with extreme trauma
Oh, Jessie.
and growth and development as this primary focus in my childhood. My mother is also incredibly creative, and I come from a long line of creative people,
Hmm.
and high functioning people looking to influence as much as possible their take their role in culture and society. My grandparents were and working in government or military, just a lot of um, social and civic conscious driven people in my family as well. So I had just so much exposure, and most of my childhood um, was uh, was spent moving all around the country, being exposed to a lot of different things. And so as an adult, I took a very long time in therapy and recovering, and felt like I hit a wall in there. I spent 15 years being reparented and processing my trauma and rebuilding
Wow.
my consciousness, and being a mother and the wife of an inventor and engineer, and helping him with his career. And I eventually got approached by an energy healing teacher who uh,
Oh,
thought I was already a functioning healer. And she's like, "What's the name of your practice?" And I said, "Well, you mean my sewing design company?" Because I was doing custom clothing design and helping people rebuild their self-image through their clothes and creating statements and blah blah blah. And she was like, "No, you should be a healer." And I said, "Well, I'm a couture seamstress, so that's what I'm doing right now." And she was convinced I needed to be in her class, and I had very much turned away from all the woo world. I
you
was
did?
very at that point I had,
Oh,
I approached everything from the scientific viewpoint. I had a lot of issues with like sleeping at night and visitation stuff, and so I had all this. um I knew aliens were real. Like I could totally understand that, but I couldn't understand angelic consciousnesses or source consciousness. I was completely shut off to that
interesting.
as a result of my childhood. And so this teacher, she convinced me to be in her class. And for the first like 3 to 4 months, she's like, "I'm not sure what you're doing here, but I know you're supposed to be here." And I'm like, "I'm not sure either." And then it just all
That's
exploded. It's like this wall I'd put up between myself and my own psychic gifts just came crumbling away.
Oh, wow.
And suddenly everything in my life made sense, and since then, for a long
Wait a second.
time.
Wait a second. You were in 15 years of therapy, and then she was able to do this during her class time with you.
Well, what it was that w through the time, it was a 2-year training program that I went into with her. And the first year
Wow.
was learning how to feel your energy, how to move energy, how to understand what's happening, what are your systems. And she had worked in many different modalities, but she created her own healing program that basically teaches you how to feel your own energy and how to use that. And all these modalities are permission slips that we need to give us permission to do magic with ourselves.
That is so cool. And you teach that?
I do, yes. So
But that's
um,
not is that the trauma one or is that a
I
different
teach
one?
people, I would say that's just laced into anything I do. You know, um,
As
I
a bonus.
believe, yeah, I believe that this is our sovereign right. This is the gift of the human vessel, is to be a transmitter and receiver of energy. I think unconsciously we're already doing this. So it's by teaching people how to bring that into the conscious awareness. Carl Jung says, bring it out of the subconscious and you're freed from it. You're liberated from it. So I think all the time we're playing this silent, energetic song, telling everyone else how to dance along with us. And if we just took a second and knew what that song was, we
Yeah.
have choice. Then it's not that we're trying to control our reality, it's that we have the prescient moment of choice, and then we're not being dragged by our life. Instead we're crafting along with our life.
And more embracing of it too.
Yes, yes.
Boy, that energy work sounds so fascinating. I have to hear about more of that. But I know
Yeah,
that's not really what we're talking about as much today. But it's
it'll come up, I'm sure.
okay, good. If not, we will make
We'll
it
come
come up.
back to it. Yeah.
Okay, well, tell us about the trauma, the healing that you do with that, and the energy healing, and that
Yeah.
you are a trained practitioner
Yeah, I'm
for
a certified
energy.
trauma healing practitioner.
Okay.
And so basically, that training program was an integrated program, teaching various therapeutic models and approaches to in trauma psychotraumacology, which is the field now of study of trauma and the impact on both our mental and our physiological systems, because now they're really understanding just how deeply that impacts us, and how it impacts our brain, our HPA axis, and how our body interprets any information coming in, depending on what state we're in. If we're in that state of triggered fear, we're going to only be able to process certain kinds of information. We're not even going to be able to access all of our senses and
Mm,
information,
mhm.
So, um, that program teaches different models, like EMDR, which is eye movement retraining and desensitization, reprogramming, and field tapping, EFT, somatic
Yeah.
practices, and then
Mhm.
just understanding how our psychology, in our consciousness, we all have, a healthy adult version, like a mature adult version. We all have a child version. And then we
Mhm.
have a sense of an idea of an I am. But those are really fluid, and how they work together is dependent upon the programming we received in our first 3 years of life. Most of us don't remember that.
Well, and think
So,
about the programming you had in your life too.
well, that's exactly why I do what I do.
Yeah.
Is I had to understand, why was I behaving, reacting, responding, interpreting, processing information in this particular way? Why is it that I keep ending up in these relationships with narcissists that I'm constantly trying to get them to understand how much they're hurting me? Why is this happening over and over? Why don't you understand?
Get the lesson, Jessie.
Why won't they get it? So
I only have
eventually,
one narcissist.
oh,
I think
good
you had
job.
more than one.
I considered myself a narcissist tamer, for a long time.
Oh
Uh,
my gosh.
yeah, yeah. And then I had to realize it's a coin toss game that we're playing. That narcissist empath slash codependent. We've loved to recoin the term codependent into empath, but
Yeah.
ultimately they are the same thing. It's someone who has grown up needing to manage their safety by managing what's happening with people outside of them. So narcissists, they grew
Oh,
up no
that's
one
cute.
recognizing their feelings.
Yeah.
So they're wanting everyone else to manage their feelings for them.
Oh,
They don't
that's,
know how to do it.
I'm going to tell you, that's huge for me. That
Right?
helps me understand someone that I had in my life. That's huge.
So basically it's like we're playing this coin game, and the coins are our feelings. And when a narcissist and an empath walk into the room together, they throw all their coins on the table and they're like, "Oh, you know how to play the coin game." Yeah. And the narcissist is like, "Here's all my coins." And the
Oh,
empath
wow.
is like, "I'll just stick mine on the side and let's take out your coins." And they
Oh
start
my
picking
gosh.
all those coins up. And the narcissist is like, "Whoa, they even play the way I like to play. Sweet." So now you're managing all their coins. Your coins are over there. Nobody cares about those coins. Forget those
Right.
coins,
Right.
right? You're both in agreement.
Hmm.
So we keep playing that game, and we're like, "Oh, but I picked up all these feelings. Why aren't you picking up mine?" Well, that's not the game you set up with them.
Yeah, you're not important.
No, you got to put their coins back on the table
Hmm.
and pick up your coins. And then it's not so fun for the narcissist to play because their coins, no one's taking care of them.
Yeah, they don't want to find out.
They
They
don't want
want to
to.
focus on themselves.
Yeah. What it, your coins?
You're not still married to the narcissist, are you? Or
Oh,
still with?
no.
Okay, good.
No. I actually, this winter, or well, this July was 8 years ago that I left my
Good.
marriage. And it's been 7 years since we've been divorced now.
Okay, good for you.
Yeah. I was just telling my son, I actually just said, "Wow, can you believe it's been 8 years?" And he goes, "Thank you.
Oh, wow. How old is your
Good
son?
job." He's 22 now.
Okay. Oh, he was there for the teenage years
He
too.
was, oh, it was rough. It was rough.
Yeah.
I have I have learned a great deal about how we pass down generationally the lessons that we are not yet ready or capable of handling.
Hmm.
I've seen through my son just shocking patterns of cyclicality, even to the point where, in my family, everything came out with my what was happening with my stepfather when I was between 11 and 14 was when the whole destructive period happened.
Hmm.
And when my son hit 11, he started coming to me and asking me, where are you going to be living in a year? And I was like, what do you
Wow.
mean?
That's an
Well,
interesting question.
where are you going to be in a year? And I said, well, wherever I am, you're going to be there too. And he's like, but I don't want to leave my home again because we did leave at one point. And I said,
Oh,
oh, well, then I'm not going anywhere,
good.
until you're ready. And when he was 13, he came to me and he was so unhappy. It was just everything was so unhappy. And I knew it was time. I knew that it was time. And I realized I had stayed in that relationship because I knew that my son couldn't represent himself with his father when he was 4, when we first left.
Right.
And he'd
Yes.
have to go and spend time there. The courts don't recognize narcissism as a good reason to not split childcare. So he would
Oh,
have to
wow.
spend
Yeah.
time with him. I didn't have a choice in that.
Hmm.
And so when I realized that the only power I had for my son in being able to protect him and do what I could to help my ex-husband be the best version of a father as he could was to be present. And so we actually spent 15 of our 17 years of marriage in therapy, He working with a group, an amazing group called Allies in Change, which is here in Oregon, run by Chris Huffine, who's revolutionizing how psychologists and how they're treating domestic abuse and narcissism. It's was instrumental in helping me understand myself and the patterns, how to behave, shift my behavior, own myself, all sorts of things. So yeah, we had a lot of support, and eventually he actually called us in for a session and told us, this isn't working. This is as good as it's going to get, and I don't think it's good enough. And what you're
Wow.
doing to your son is unconscionable, and I think it's time you called it. And for me, it was like, oh my God, someone's finally given me permission.
And kind of acknowledge that too.
Acknowledge that we did what we could. We
Yeah.
did the work that we could. We tried. And for my ex-husband, that was a shocker, because in his mind, I was the problem. I wasn't coming online the way he wanted me to. And he was like, she doesn't love me. That's why this isn't working. And the therapist was like, actually, I'm seeing a woman that loves her husband so much, she's kind of lost herself. And
In him.
yeah. I'm seeing a man displaying disgust and abject hatred towards his wife. So this is what I'm seeing,
Well, I can see why you're a healing practitioner. You were prepped for that for most of your life.
Yeah, I had no choice. This was not a chosen path. This was put in front of me. And every time I try to do something else, I have clients that show up.
Okay, so tell us what kind of clients that you do, so that might resonate with someone.
Yeah, so I work with most of my clients are people who have already had therapy. They've already gone through Western medicine. They've already gone through Western psychology, and life just isn't working. And they don't know why. Some of my clients have chronic pain or injury or disease or illness. I've had a few clients who, one of my clients was put onto hospice, and she started taking my life mastery program each day. She had no money, so I just let her take the program for free. And that was 7 years ago, and she's still alive. And they figured that they'd made a mistake when they put her on hospice. They went in to do a surgery, and found that they didn't need to do the surgery anymore. It was scheduled 2 months after that, and it was a last ditch effort. And they go in and they oh, actually, we don't need to replace your pancreas. So another one of my clients,
incredible.
Yeah. So story. And these are people who come from backgrounds where they either have direct traumatic experiences like what I had. I have one survivor who was, she was trafficked to the US in a shipping container from Vietnam as a child. The container fell off the ship, and they were in the ocean for like 3 months before they were found.
Are you kidding?
No, just really horrible stuff. And she's a model, and she was really struggling at the time. I only worked with her for a short period of time because we really just needed to process through that
trauma.
Right, that one trauma that was extensive, but it's amazing how much you can move things through when you lean into the pain instead of turn away from it. So now she's a model, and she's much better relationship with her son, and has much more grounded, stable relationships in life. Another one of my clients, she's recovering from being raised evangelical. So a lot of people that I work with have spiritual trauma. They were raised in extremely rigid belief systems or environments, and denied what their intuition and their gifts were telling them coming in. So they're very shut down. We know that like poltergeists are, are not a spirit haunting something. It is the disinherited psychic energy of a person who has, for some reason, disembodied that psychic energy, and now it's wreaking havoc around them to get their attention because they're so externalized.
That's kind of like extreme too.
It is. Yeah.
So I have a friend who had a really traumatic upbringing, very traumatic.
Yeah.
And I didn't meet her until I was in my 30s, and she was in her 30s.
Yeah.
And now she has Lyme disease and all these
Yeah.
other things
Very
going
common.
on. Yeah. And I'm thinking, um, the things that she's complained to me for 30 years about
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yeah.
But she does things, but it never changes.
That's because it's what I find, and I don't know her, obviously, so I
No,
don't want to. Um, I'm not trying to diagnose her, but
no.
in my experience, when people those cyclical, repetitive patterns, uh, it takes radical change to create radical transformation. You know, and oftentimes as a trauma survivor myself, which I think of myself as a trauma thriver,
You
actually.
are.
But as someone who has survived that and lived in that, um, there is this is not to blame anyone. There
Mhm.
is a delicious sweetness in trauma. It provides us with a lot of room. It provides us with a lot of reasons to not show up, to not push through challenges, to not push through and beyond and break barriers, because our spirit wasn't guided through that process in general. Most trauma survivors, especially from what my sense of what you just mentioned about her, is she comes from periods of trauma throughout developmental phases.
Yes.
CPTSD, we call that, complex post-traumatic stress disorder, because it's impacted multiple stages of development throughout the course. Those
Oh,
are the people that have the hardest time breaking these cycles and patterns, because they're operating from a child perspective predominantly. When we're triggered, when we're in a triggered state, we're going to revert to the mental capacity we had at the
oh
time of
yeah.
the trigger.
Oh,
So there's sometimes where you're probably talking with her and you feel like you're talking to a child at points, especially if the pattern is really pushing itself, or she's wanting to really assert why this has happened or something like that.
and then for me, I can't understand. Well,
Right.
we've been talking about this for 30 years.
Yeah.
Do all this stuff. Why are we still going through this?
Right. Yeah. That's because it's like that child is sitting on this side of the bridge and the bridge of maturation got blown up.
Okay, she needs to see you, Jessie.
Yeah. So what I like to think of it as, it's kind of like our fabric of consciousness.
Hmm.
It's all everything's all interconnected. But for trauma, how we define, and there's many different ways trauma can be defined. But
Hmm.
my favorite definition of it is it's an overwhelm to the processing system.
Oh, gosh.
It's when the system gets so overwhelmed, it just
Hmm.
it locks something away. And fascinatingly, it tends to lock it away on one side of the body or the other. And if you have multiple traumas, then you kind of get stuff all over the place, right? So,
Yeah. Okay.
yes. And so that's why a lot of traumas, especially CPTSD or people who have complex trauma, they tend to end up with autoimmune disorders. I myself have an autoimmune disorder that I'm working my way through. It's the body attacking itself, right? Which is like it's what's happening internally to us. Our
So,
trauma is attacking us inside.
if someone wishes to see you, do you do like um, an intake with them, or you just
Yeah.
chat with them and find out what their needs are and then take it from there?
Yeah. I offer everybody who wants to talk with me a free consultation session, because trauma is hard,
Hmm.
and I may or may not be the right fit for that person, and
Right.
they may or may not be the right fit for me.
Hmm.
Being a healer with them means I'm getting on your journey, your road with you. So I offer for everybody, let's have a conversation and let's see if we fit, if we feel like we fit. And in that conversation, I usually get a good gauge of what it is that not obviously the entirety, but the basics of where the struggles are at, what they're looking to accomplish. I work with a lot of people who are struggling with addiction, for instance. And so when they first come to me, they're not ready to do the work. Like they're not ready yet to do the work, but they know they need to.
Need to, yes,
Right.
exactly.
So a lot of my clients, like for instance, this one client, she came to me 7 years ago, and she came to me for a tarot reading. And that's how a lot of people will come in at first, is for a reading, or I used to work at a lot of fairs, and that was pre-COVID.
Mhm.
So she came to me for a tarot reading. My tarot readings are micro sessions, basically. They're not really like foretelling. They're like, what's wrong? What's the issue? At my table, other practitioners would bring me Kleenex boxes because people would always end up in tears at my table.
Oh,
But it's because it's freeing, it's liberating to
it
have something
is. Yeah,
witnessed and
that's good.
recognized. So with her, we did a reading, and she went away, and through the course of the next 6 years, she developed EMF, electromagnetic frequency syndrome, where she couldn't go into town anymore. She couldn't really ride in their car that had all of the
Oh, yeah.
electronics.
Hmm.
It got to the point where she could even tell, she would yell at her husband, and when they're trying to go to sleep at night, that he'd left the Bluetooth on his printer in his shop across the garage outside of the house,
Oh my
because she could feel
gosh.
it. He's like, no, you can't. And he goes down there, and sure enough, it was on. So
Wow.
she had gotten her sensitivity to this heightened point by running headlong down the awakened, enlightened path. And that made her feel like all technology was evil and the spirit of the planet. And she went so deep into that she actually made herself sick, you
Oh boy.
know. And so it took about 6 months, but she no longer has those issues. She takes her son to the movie theaters now and goes
Yeah,
into
but six
town.
months is quick.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean,
I know people in years trying to
yeah.
figure things out.
Yeah. With her, it was we took it in stages. We took it
Mhm.
in stages, and started to reclaim, her system, her belief patterns. And once she had the realization, I gave myself this. It was in a session. She's like, did I really make this? And I said, well, tell me, does your body
That's
feel like that
huge.
feels true?
That's
She's
huge.
like, yes, it does.
Mm.
And
Wow,
that's when everything just started
wow, that's
changing,
great.
you know.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh, Jessie.
So I work with people who feel like they're at the end of their rope. They don't know what else to do. Most of the referrals are like my
Yeah, yours
friends.
are extreme.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm usually like, the people who refer to me, they're like, I didn't know what to do. You know, I got nothing. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right.
And I just
So
want to remind our viewers that she's a psychic medium, and we haven't even touched upon that. Um, we're touching upon some other things.
yeah.
Jesse, I do want to ask you because we talked about this a little beforehand. Do you have some special going for the trauma healing or?
Right now, yeah, I actually, I just am launching a overcoming stress and anxiety trauma healing package. So it's a 2 week I'm sorry, it's a 2 month, 8 week package where it's 8 sessions, 8 classes, and 8 group calls, so that you have like a coach and trainer along the way to rewrite, retrain your nervous system, your approach, how you process what's happening to you, so that you can step by step reclaim your nervous system and
Not,
start to establish who you want your life, how you want your life to be, and who you are in your life. Because most trauma survivors are operating on the bare minimum, participating as a reactive response rather
or
than a
the flight mode
proactive.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's great. That's great.
I'm excited about it. I'm super excited about it. I just started it. We're starting our first group through in October. I'm sorry, the beginning of November is when the classes started, and we've already started session work with my first group to go through this Most of my clients, because the work is so intense, they avoid it until it gets
Oh,
so bad, right?
I understand that because you are asking them to peel back so many layers.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and to find their authentic self.
Yes. Yeah.
But man, are they going to do well with all of that?
Yeah. I mean, the success stories, that's what keeps me going.
Are those on your
It's
website so people can look at
some
those?
of them are, yeah. I'm
Okay.
working on getting some more of them up there. That's one of the hard things, is because what I work with people on is so deeply, intensely personal. you know,
Yeah,
it's hard to
that,
get people wanting to talk about that, or,
yeah.
but yeah, I have testimonials on the website, some written testimonials, and over the next few weeks, you'll be seeing some video testimonials coming up that I've been gathering over the last couple of months to help just kind of get it out there, because what I do is so unique, and there's not like a term for it. you
Well,
know
and I'm going to tell you, meeting you, talking with you, seeing you, I think it would be very comforting to be in a group with you too.
Oh, thank
I
you,
do, I
thank you.
really do.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm going to switch gears here because we wanted to talk about a couple things and we're getting a little short on time.
That's
Can
always the way.
Okay, well, can there was something else that really piqued my, well, there's about five things that really piqued my interest, but we wanted to talk a little bit about accessing your creative genius.
Ah,
Well,
yes,
let's tear you down and then build you back up.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, well, my soul crack is getting to see what
Wait a minute.
someone,
Soul crack?
soul crack. Yeah. That's
Okay.
like my favorite drug. That's my soul drug. So I think of them as
Oh my
soul
God.
crack moments. They crack your soul open and it just shines out of you. Those
Just,
moments when you see somebody who's performing a song that they wrote, and that the words, they strike you, and this came out of them, you know or to see art that they've created. Oh my God, this came out of them. Like, oh my God, you just picked up some mud and look what you made.
oh, wow.
So to me, I mean, I'm an artist. I'm obsessive about learning how to do different forms of creative medium
Mhm.
expressions. So getting to see that from someone else, that's like, that just feeds my soul.
Do you do one-on-ones with people or how does that work?
Well, accessing your creative genius is a part of your session work. Like, that's
Oh, it's a
integrated.
part of it.
Yes. I that's the
That's
salve.
nice.
That's the
That's good.
salve that we put on after we've pulled back the skin. We put the salve on of what is your creativity. So, for
Great
instance,
analogy.
yeah, one of my clients, I work with a lot of family groups. Usually I start working with one person, then their siblings, sometimes then their parents, sometimes then their children, depending. So this was a family group of sisters, and they love their parents dearly, and one of their parents struggles with alcohol and physical abuse. And so this one in particular, she's an artist, and she teaches painting. She's an art teacher, in school. But she was really struggling to feel creative and be able to access her own artistic expression.
Mm-hmm.
And so we processed some of the trauma that was related to that. And then her assignment was to paint her rage, because she's one of those people that so sweet. She's got the high, sweet voice, and she's so pretty, and she's just so sweet, and everything. She makes everything great for everybody. But then she gets on the field, and she was a team captain for a women's rugby league, and she's like, "I will go through you. I will go through you." And you're like, "Oh my God." That's the other side. you know? So to help her integrate these two sides of herself, I
Mm-hmm.
had her do a rage painting, where her paintings were always beautiful or inspirational, and she had to write on the canvas her rage, and then paint over that, and then whatever she felt called to do, and then afterward have a ritual and burn it. Like
Oh,
you
very
get to get
cathartic.
this out, you know, and I
Good.
completely forgot about that assignment. And I was just doing her testimonial, recording her testimonial, and she brought that up. And I was like, oh, that was a great one.
Thought about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So the creative genius is your healer. That's your healer inside of you. So my goal, I believe trauma disconnects us from that. It's like it puts a muffle over this. So
Mm-hmm.
what I'm doing is taking the muffle off of that
Mm-hmm.
and then going, oh, do you hear that? I hear this. Do you hear it? Does this resonate? And they're like,
It does.
I
Yeah.
was hearing that. I was,
Hmm.
and suddenly it's validated. Confirmation is huge.
And you have a little coloring book that you created
I
too.
do.
Can you tell us about
Yes.
that, please? Because I love to color.
That's awesome. Well, so yeah, I created Journal Journeys, our Inner Kingdom adult activity adventure coloring book journals. I'm
Ooh.
just about to publish my second one. They were originally for made to accompany my life mastery program, which I've been teaching for 7 years, and now I've pulled the extracts out for this package that I mentioned earlier about covering stress and anxiety. And so, yeah, the journal journeys. When COVID hit,
Mm.
one of the things that I've never felt like I could do is two-dimensional drawings. I was not good at that. It was a real struggle, and even in clothing design, I was embarrassed to show my drawings of this is what I'm
Oh,
thinking. But my clients, they knew what product I would look like, and they're like, great, three-dimensional is good. So I decided in COVID, I wanted to do a coloring book that I would actually want to color in. You
and
know,
what is the name of the book?
it's called How Can I Know Myself?
Oh, I
And
bet we can bring that up too
we
and
can bring
see
that
that.
up, yes.
Yeah.
It's called How Can I Know Myself? An Inner Kingdom Journey of the Mind, Body, and Spirit Complex. And it has in it, it's done in kind of like a graphic novel style format where it talks a little bit about my own journey, and it walks people through a process that I ultimately walk people through in healing, where we look at how you grew up and what does your timelining look like, and what are your belief patterns, and what are the rituals that you practice in your life.
Okay, we're not seeing the video for that. Can you show the cover again so people can see that?
Sure. Oh, here
Oh, wait,
comes the
here it
video.
comes. There it is.
Thank you. Yeah, so as we scroll down and through it, we can see, you'll hear in there is my personal story, my personal journey. Um,
Mhm.
one of the pages that, like, for example, I'm a huge believer in timing and aligning of things happening as they just are meant to,
Mhm.
and so, for instance, Thich Nhat Hanh was a huge part of my childhood growing up.
Oh,
Reading his,
really?
yeah, I knew who he was before I knew who Jesus was.
Mm. Well, you
So,
were raised Buddhist, so yeah.
yeah. So in my book, when I was writing out my personal story of it, and how I came to be, I got really stuck on, like, what do I do next? And I was stuck for a while, and then I came upon and I started coloring this panel up here. And it says, I could not go into a cave, but I could go and return to nature. This was like, what can I do? I don't know what else I can do for myself. And so it's a drawing of a person sitting at the beach, and the coast and mountains, all the way to Mount Hood, and then a vulture. And at the very end, I thought it was going to be an eagle, but it was a vulture that I ended up drawing. And
Okay.
when I finished coloring it and drawing it, I found out that morning I'd drawn all through the night. Like, I just couldn't stop. It went all through the night. And when I got to yeah, there it is. When I finally finished coloring that vulture, it was the last thing. A little notice popped up on my phone that Thich Nhat Hanh had passed. And I realized I'd spent the
Oh,
night in a wake with Thich.
oh,
And that just it felt like he guided me on how to move forward, right? That
oh,
we have
wow.
to return back to our true nature. our true nature. So yeah, this is just a kind of like my story and that part of it. There's some other things in it as you scroll, as if we can scroll down a little further. One of the stories in there, it's called the Soulzician's Becoming Story. It's a little further down from there. And that's like a story about a guy who finds an instrument in the woods and he wants to go and play and perform with it. And so he goes to this like a fair, and he sees a man who's like a real musician. He's like, oh my God, you're so good. How do I play like that?
Yeah.
And the guy says, well, you have to go to school to become a musician like this. And so he's like, oh, goes to school, and he comes out and he has this really powerful career, but he feels no passion anymore for his instrument. And so
Oh,
he returns back to his nature where he found the instrument and remembers how to play it from his heart. And so then years later, he's performing. And
oh,
yeah, this is the Soulzician story. Years later, he's performing, and an old man comes up to him and says, oh my God, how did you learn how to play like that? And he said, well, someone told me once to go to school, but I actually had to go and remember
gosh,
myself.
Jessie,
Right. So
giving me
he's,
chills, girl. Is
so the
that
old
your
man says,
handwriting too?
yeah, this is all my own calligraphy and
That's
hand drawn.
gorgeous. I
So this
love
was
it.
also me learning how to draw, you know.
I can see.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the progression as it goes through, is also part of it. Like we learn how by doing it. And so this book was very much healing me to make it.
Oh, that's
And
beautiful. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah,
Jesse, we're going to have to wrap it up, but
yeah.
we will be talking to you again. I like
That's
that.
awesome.
Tell me a
Yeah.
story about yourself. And I just want to thank you for sharing your light and your wisdom with us today. It was
Thank you.
truly incredible. And I have learned so much from this short little snippet of knowing you.
Thank you.
Seriously. So thank you so much. And you are a pure gift to the world. So
Oh, thank
thank you
you.
so much.
Yeah, thank you. It's an honor to be able to take what happened to me and
Yes.
make
Yes.
something that others can
And help
flourish with.
everyone else. Okay. Well, we're going to keep on that journey. All right. Thank you
Yes.
so much, Jesse.
Thank you, Karen. It was
Mm.
great talking.
Mm.